Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quest Unplayed, where three gamers talk about anything and everything about games and have fun together. I am George, the co host of Quest Unplayed, and this quest is joined by Anthony,
Hey everyone.
Zach,
Hi.
and we have another guest, Byron.
Hello.
He
Awesome.
makes games.
Yes, he does make games, unlike
And
us.
we play games.
Yes, we
We
do.
play the games and he makes them.
That's good. That's a good combo, right? You need someone to play the game, and you need
Make
someone
the
to make the game.
games. I'm doing it.
Anyways, this podcast is sponsored by Minimap, your ultimate gaming hub and a gaming companion app. Sync your game accounts, make your own game collections, connect with other gamers in our community, enjoy our original content, and basically do anything and everything about gaming on Minimap. And we do have that new sponsor video, like Zach wanted. So,
Are you sure? Because
What's
it
that?
takes April 1st. It could be anything.
Oh, we
No.
should have done April 1st one. I don't know. It's kind of coming off a little. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Oh, yeah. I love the music.
Would recommend. 10 out of 5.
Pretty much.
I like it.
Minimap.
Was that you?
Oh, yeah. That was.
Wow.
What do you think?
Is this like a competition with the Nintendo app?
No. No, but special thanks to our designer because she was in charge of everything. We worked together, but she did most of the video work and all
I've never
that.
seen your designer, and I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. So special shout out to my designer. Yes.
If she ever watches these, you tell her this thingy for me.
Yes, but anyways,
I think that was a heart, or is this how you guys do it too?
Yeah, that too. That's Korean heart.
I always
But
thought
anyway-
that was like a mean thing, like yeah, like
No. But anyways, Byron, what did you think of the video? Did you get what we're doing or what Minimap is doing? I guess.
I think so. It seemed like it was doing a lot. Looks like a social media platform and storefront review curator sort of
Nice.
stuff. A lot going on.
Yes, that was the point we were trying to get on. But anyways, thank you actually for coming to the podcast, Byron. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your game, maybe?
Sure. Thanks for having me and for reaching out. So I'm Byron. I'm a co-founder of an indie studio called Tyrannodog. Basically, we studied, four of us initially, were studying game dev. We completed a 2-year course on game dev and then a 1-year business course, and sort of concepted the game as part of that. And then after we applied for an incubator grant and received one, and we used that to sort of kickstart things and start up a small indie studio, and basically tried to carry the game through to completion and release, and almost there. Exciting and nervous. And yeah, the
Well, that looks
game,
fun.
as you can see a bit on screen, he plays this little purple creature called the Monchling, and you sort of go around launching other creatures to gain their abilities. And these are all sort of mostly movement or interaction-based abilities where you can navigate the world better, interact with puzzles and things like that, and break stuff like you're seeing there, and go around and talk to quirky NPCs, bit of puzzling, platforming, collecting stuff, that sort of vibe.
Awesome.
I like it.
Yes, we actually did play the demo version a little bit. Thanks to Byron and the team. It was actually
I beat it.
it was
Oh, I
really
got
really
past the
fun.
demo.
Yeah, I almost beat it. I didn't get to the end part because I didn't have time. But like
What?
no, but like I would always try to like go to the here and then like, oh, how do I get there? And then like look around and see like the spots I'm missing. Like have to go all the way back there and then like.
We know that
stress.
Zach beat it because Zach loves platforming games. And
Yes,
stuff.
he does. Yes, he does. I know that for
I
sure.
just like
So-
games. They make me happy.
And also, the reason why, or one of the things that caught my attention was the cute little character. I was researching or doing some searching on Twitter and stuff, and then I saw this. I was like, oh, this is so cute. It's gonna be really really fun too. And then I kind of reached out to the team as well. So.
I gotta say, the kangaroos have to be stretched out by now, though, because they're doing a lot of. Limber it up a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Stretching there, and then scratching their face with their foot. I'm like, oh god, those are kangaroos, right?
Well, none of them are like specific one-to-one
Animals?
real creature
Oh.
animals, but
Okay.
inspired by
Because look at my bad. I didn't know, but I liked them. I thought they were some jellies.
They're quite like kangaroo shaped, so I can see that.
Yeah.
But
I
Awesome.
just like
But-
that they're constantly getting flexed. They're like ready to go.
yeah, we would have liked to have a few more idle animations ideally, but what we got.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We'll actually get dive deeper into that in a little bit, but before that, we actually have the gamer type quiz where we have fun with the dev. So, are you ready to take this quiz, Byron?
Sure, let's go.
All right. So 1.4 million users have participated. So, my first question. Finally, weekend after a long, tiring week. First, ask a friend to play a video game together, or you need to spend quality time alone.
Questions like these, it always like depends on how I feel.
Yes.
But usually, all things being equal, I'd probably prefer to play a game with a friend. Yeah.
Okay. New game that just released isn't your type, but a friend is urging you to play. It's not your cup of tea, but you refuse, but you actually start playing together, or you listen to your friend's words right away.
It isn't my type. I mean, if it's on sale or something, then yeah, sure, give it a try. If it's just released, I guess then maybe that's less likely. But I usually, if my friend's telling me like, oh, you'll have fun with this game, even if it doesn't seem like my type, I'll usually sort of trust their recommendation and see if there's something I can like in it. Yeah.
All right. You're thinking about joining a community with strict terms to get good game information. First, from self-introduction to attendance check, that's too much. Or it has good information, so getting ranked up after 3 days is no problem.
Probably the latter, I suppose. I've been trying to dive into Reddit a bit recently. I don't usually use it. Make posts and find more information, and obviously in there you have to sort of post non-promotional stuff a lot before you can promote the promotional stuff.
Right.
Been doing that, so I guess that's sort of similar to that.
Yeah, I think Reddit has that policy. A lot of subreddits have that. Next question. Before buying a game, you carefully read over other people's reviews, watch trailer, check the price, or if the game looks interesting, you just trust your gut and make the purchase.
Definitely the first one. Generally, when I buy anything, not just games, I do a lot of research, even if it's a fairly minor purchase, and just sort of like that. So,
all right. If someone is watching you play a game from behind, it's the perfect opportunity to show you're amazing or you're actually good at it, but due to the pressure, you're missing skill shots.
Probably the first, I suppose. I used to be a full-time Twitch streamer.
Oh, really?
And I used to stream Gwent, the Witcher card game, and that was rank 1 Oceanic player on and off for a bit. So, I mean, I guess that's more the first thing. I mean, I definitely, in some tournaments and GM games and stuff, because I was too focused on my stream chat, made some misplays and lost games because of it. But
that'll happen.
Just on the fun and interaction, really.
Gwent is pretty fun, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing.
It was. I haven't played it for a long time now. That was a few years ago when it came out in beta, and it's gone through a lot of changes since then. But I liked it at the time, obviously, enough to stream it. So yeah.
Awesome. Next question. You're playing a newly released game for the first time. First, rather than having regrets later on about missing something, you go over the tutorials, or the game seems to be similar to the one you've played before, so you skip the tutorial.
I guess it depends how well the tutorial is integrated. If it's stuff that's just constantly popping up on screen, freezing the game, telling me to do stuff, I'll probably get sick of that pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
it's sort of more integrated diegetically and a bit smoother, then I'll usually just play through it and yeah.
So.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
I guess we'll usually prefer to go through it to make sure I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
I think a lot of indie game devs kind of like one thing that they really have to think about is how to make tutorials so like natural, seamlessly kind of fuse into the gameplay rather than making it like stop the gameplay in between.
Yeah.
We'll actually talk about that as well. Next question. You are playing a mystery solving game. First, based on your years of experience in your mystery solving games, that guy is a culprit, or you have to start collecting evidence first.
Definitely collecting evidence first. Again, I'm the sort of person that does a lot of research before sort of coming to any decisions or doing things. So yeah, that fits in with that, I think.
Awesome. Next question. In order to equip the rune that increases defense by 0.01%, you have to return to the lobby. First, 0.01% is not a big difference, and my friends are waiting, so I just go, or you tell them to wait, you go back to the lobby and equip the rune.
Oh, always equip the rune.
Nice. Those numbers gonna add up, right?
Yeah, I like optimization of my characters in games. So.
Right, awesome. Next question. During gameplay, your companion's character has been bitten by a zombie. First, you might be able to find the cure, so you decide to accompany them, or everyone in your group can get infected, so you choose to kill them even though it is tragic.
Probably try and find the cure and accompany them. If I'm playing a game, I want to be playing with them rather than killing them. So.
But if it's real life...
Well, everything changes, doesn't
it? Yeah, then you gotta leave them, right? That's how everyone dies in a zombie movie. So
no, you use them for bait. Come on.
Gosh, you're always
Use
a step
them
ahead of
for
me,
bait.
Zach.
Okay. We know what Zach's plan is.
What? No,
Oh, no. So in a zombie apocalypse, we're not gonna bring Zach with us because once we get bitten, we're gonna become as bait.
But I have great survival instincts.
Okay. Right, that's good.
Next mustache.
Next question. Even if I don't express it, I feel like you keep losing because of your friend. Are they not feeling well? I lift up my friend's spirits, or you send them a link to the character's tips and tricks and suggest their gameplay.
I suppose it depends a little bit on the context, but most of the time, if I'm playing with a friend, it's just to hang out, not to win as much. And if we win, like that's a bonus. So I'm definitely more concerned about whether my friend's doing okay than whether we're winning or not.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Actually, sometimes losing with a friend is more fun than like winning alone, I guess.
Yeah.
You have more good, you have good time together, like laugh it off and stuff. But
yeah, for sure.
Next question. The character has bad performance, but the appearance is totally my type. First, considering the balance of my party, I cannot put them in my party. Or second, I have to put my favorite character in the party no matter the cost.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for me because I like optimization, but I also usually feel a bit weird playing characters that, I don't like the look of, which is, I don't know why exactly that is, but I will usually prefer to play something that like I just enjoy, whether it's optimal or not. And I'll try to like make that suboptimal thing, if it's something I like, as optimized as I can.
Okay.
Basically. And when I was streaming, I did that a lot with trying to bring sort of meme decks into competitive events, hold ranks and things like that. That was sort of my brand. So, yeah.
All right. Your current desktop is messy with tons of icons, but it does not affect my gameplay, or you hate chaotic things. Your desktop is neatly cleaned.
My desktop is blank because, I don't like having icons all over it. I just have it hidden.
Okay.
You're like, actually,
there's a third one. Next question. Before getting into the game, I searched the internet just in case I end up missing achievements, or you have never played a game for the achievements.
Well, I definitely do go achievement hunting in games, but I won't do it like the first time I'm playing.
Mhm.
So I won't ever look anything up about the game if I can help it before going into it. I'll like have a sort of organic playthrough, and then after that, if I like the game and want to keep playing, then that's when I'll start going through and trying to 100% and get all the stuff, and then I might start looking stuff up. But I always try and just do it organically first. Yeah, I don't want to
So,
spoil stuff.
so you probably want to
Yeah, I
go
mean,
into it. Yeah.
it's not exactly accurate because I do play them for the achievements, but yeah, not the first time. So I guess the second
Okay.
option is more accurate there, probably.
Awesome. Last question. Who happens to play a lot of games? You play a game you feel like playing at the moment from your collection, or you have a gaming schedule on when to beat a certain game?
Not so much a schedule, but I am the type of person who likes to tunnel vision on one sort of task or one goal at a time, and so if I'm playing sort of trying to 100% X game, then that is the game I'm playing until that happens. So, yeah.
Probably the second one then.
Yeah, I think so.
All
But
right.
having said that, like I'll play, games with friends and stuff in between that. But if talking about solo games, yeah.
Right. So you a harmonious druid.
All right.
Nice.
All right.
Druids are weak.
Oh, weak. Okay.
So you like multiplayer better than single player because you like to leave your roots and grow your own party instead. You do enjoy competition, but you're better at multiplayer games. Co-op, I think. You go online just to mingle with people. You actually enjoy sharing your items with newbies. You know everything about this game and remember everything. Approaching a newbie, you say, I'm here to help you. First, you have to go to this NPC, then collect 10 apples, then blah, 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 blah. Why play a game if there's no one to chat with? You spend more time chatting than actually playing, and you are a natural social butterfly.
I don't know about the last one, but
What if it would be like a social, I don't know, raptor or something? Maybe that
Yeah,
would be-
something.
Good thing
well,
the
I'm
druid
normally
makes
pretty
sense.
introverted. I think I'm
Yeah.
normally pretty introverted in day-to-day life, I suppose, and doing things like this and like streaming, I've sort of had to force myself to go out of my comfort zone to do those sorts of things. So
Gotta have that, as the kids say now, Riz. I call it charisma, though.
So you are good with friend creating summoner, and you do not like playing with the perfect ranger.
Perfect ranger.
Oh.
Am I right, guys? Ugh.
Ranger is a solo player, that's why.
Yeah, because usually perfect rangers are like, they're like very, very goal oriented, and they like, they really don't care about like other friends dying. They just have to win the game.
Yeah,
In games.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
but
accurate.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you like multi-survival games. Awesome. All right. Thank you for taking the gamer type quiz. All right.
I like it when we get something different.
Yeah, I know, right? Because usually it's like a lot of pirates, cheerful pirates are a lot of them. We've had a lot of berserkers. Yeah.
I was gonna say too, like it said weak, but it doesn't really mean weak.
Yeah,
There's
because
a whole backstory for it.
Yeah, it's like because that was actually a funny meme in Korea. Just to explain, I don't know if anyone has played Hearthstone before.
Yeah.
But it usually in Hearthstone, druids are like towards the end of the game, they're like the strongest they can. Like they're unbeatable usually because they like, usually have a lot of cards that add up, ramp up and then like rank or whatever. So they're always like, oh, druids are weak, but then they're actually not weak. They're like all like monstrous figure. They're like, oh, we are weak or something. So it's like a funny meme that they had in Korea. But
It's scary.
yeah, I'll actually send you the link. But anyways, thank you for taking the quiz. And I think this is a perfect time to jump to the bulletin board Waypoint, where we talk about the weekly game news. And this week we have two quick things. First, Monster Hunter Wilds hits 10 million sales in 1 month, which is a lot.
10 million.
Huh?
10 million sales.
I'm one of those 10 million.
Yes. Yeah, I know that because I actually played Monster Hunter Wilds at your house.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Why is there so much story? I just want to fight. I'm like, I don't know, man. I just
You gotta
Yeah.
skip those, man.
I just
But
live here.
You're not,
I don't
you can't
actually. I
skip
don't.
the dialogues.
I've
That's the
gone through the
lore.
Yeah,
whole
but-
story, and I don't think I've. I got to the point where I was like, at first, I was like listening to every one of them, and I was like, nope, nope, a, and there's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, shut up, shut up.
Oh no,
What?
Zach.
It
gotta
just
listen to
they talk
story.
so much.
Yeah, I mean,
They
okay,
won't
you do
shut
listen
up.
to the story if you have if you're gonna be actually playing that game for a long time, that you actually have to understand the story. But like, if you only have like an hour to play, you obviously want to be skipping to the battle scene.
I played that game for 5 hours and went through every talking scene. I gave it a chance though. I was like, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, you want to fight a monster? Look at this on my back. Is that weird?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, just shut up."
So, Byron, does Monch have a lot of dialogues or?
A fair bit. Yeah, I wrote most of it.
Oh, awesome.
It's I should really know like probably the exact number of lines. It's something just under 1,000, I think. But yeah, dialogue is pretty much the main way that you interact with other NPCs in it.
Right.
It's not voiced. We have a little system where there's a bunch of different sounds that are assigned to different letters, basically, and it sort of spits out some sort of gibberish while you're talking to them.
I don't.
Right.
I don't remember it being that bad though. I don't when I was playing the demo.
Yeah.
I didn't skip through your guys' lines.
I didn't
say
skip
that
either.
much.
I did not skip those either.
Maybe it was because it was going.
Yeah.
I was like,
Maybe
I was about to
that's why. Because that's entertaining, right?
maybe
Yeah,
that's
well-
they should
more
do that.
entertaining.
And maybe they should put that in Wild. Just the option to change to just random noises. I got it in Japanese right now, but
We thought it helped with the sort of cute aesthetic of the characters and stuff like that, rather than them being actually speaking at you, I suppose.
Yeah, I think because those creatures
I
are
wish
not like humans.
I could find a way to
Yeah.
make noises when I stream and then have bubbles pop up with the words. I would do that. I was like, and then just, as I'm gaming, it'd be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day.
I mean, that's kind of hard.
That's what I say. It's not like
But-
a thing yet, but one day.
Yeah, but anyways, do you play Monster Hunter Wilds or any of the Monster Hunter franchises, Byron, or?
I
Have you ever
haven't.
played any?
It's always sort of been on the periphery of things that I'm like, oh yeah, that is something I would probably enjoy and looks interesting. But for whatever reason, I just haven't actually tried it out. I should probably grab one of them when they're on sale sometime and give it a go, because I like RPGs and fantasy. So it seems like it's right up my alley. Yeah. Don't have an excuse for not playing it, really. Just
I was gonna say, are you still building the game though, right? Your game?
yeah. So yeah, I haven't had a lot of time to play other stuff at the moment, and we've been televisioning
Yeah.
so hard on getting everything finished that a lot of gaming news at the moment has sort of just flown over the radar, so to speak. Under the radar? That's the one.
Yeah, that's what I was because a lot of time we have devs on here and they're like, we don't have any time to game, and I'm like, Monster Hunter is one of those games that if you start playing it, all of a sudden
Yeah.
you grow a beard, your family stops.
Yeah,
talking
I
to you.
haven't started any big single player games for exactly
Yeah.
that reason.
forgot to
Just
take-
like
you forgot
playing a
to
bit
take
of
a
League
shower.
currently.
You gotta take a shower 3 days. They're like, what's that smell? You're like, nothing. We're good. No,
Yeah.
You forget to eat. You have like a
Everyone's
bunch of
told
pizza
them.
boxes everywhere. Yeah.
but no joke. There's been games I've been interested in, but I knew that if I played them, that I would have like no time to do anything else, and I made myself not play them. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it because
Yeah.
I'll be sucked in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
started playing Path of Exile 2 when the early access
Right.
came out, and
Uh-huh.
I had to sort of cut myself off at some point to play it.
I gotta
Yeah,
unplug
update.
this. Oh.
The new update comes out too. The new expansion update.
Don't,
Yeah,
don't,
well,
don't tempt him, man.
Yeah.
Don't tempt him. He has work to do.
That's how it goes. When a new update comes out, we go back to the games. Then we start playing.
Yeah, but
Well,
Jesus.
hopefully soon.
I'm just
That's
joking.
the time to.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
what?
Zach, don't forget Monster Hunter update coming too.
I know it is. I know it is. God. Ah.
When are you guys planning to release the game?
2nd of May, so in exactly a month, I suppose.
Oh, right. Okay. So maybe you can go play Path of Exile after release for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll sleep for a week or something.
Yeah. For like a couple days.
Sleep,
Be
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
sleep first, then game.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
you have some very diverse games, like card games and Path of Exile, and then you made Monch, which is a free roaming, well, not free roaming, but a platformer, like a 3D platformer.
Yeah. So interestingly, I haven't like personally played many games like the game we're creating, Monch.
Mhm.
Like I never really played like the Mario games. I played a bit of a Spyro game like on a friend's PS2 or PS1 or something like way back when.
I love Spyro.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's typically not a genre that I'd interacted that much with. So it
Mhm.
was interesting, yeah, coming in to developing something like that without having that sort of repertoire of experience, I suppose. And as part of the development process, like I played a bit of some of those games, to research and um, figure out sort of how they work and what people like about them, all that sort of stuff, and sort of try and bring some of that in. But back to the original point, I do like a pretty wide variety of games. Yeah, my bread and butter is sort of sci-fi shooters and fantasy RPGs.
You just added 2 more genres in there. I'm just, but that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, like Halo and The Witcher 3. Halo, a bit less the direction's been going lately, but like back in the day, some of my favorite games.
Yeah. I mean, who didn't play Halo back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of what got me into
Everybody.
gaming. Friend got an Xbox and was like, "Oh, come over, you gotta check this out." I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right."
Did
Played
you
the
ever
first
do the LAN
development, was like,
party?
"Cool." Oh yeah,
Local area
they had all
network?
the system link stuff set up with 3 TVs and set parties and stuff.
Nobody make a phone
Uh,
call. Nobody make a phone call.
Stay up all night playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta do one of those.
No, that was the
and
old days. Dorito
I can
bags
still do it.
everywhere. Mountain
You
Dew
could try.
bottles.
I don't know about Mountain Dew.
Oh, I just thinking about my friends because I don't know if you've ever seen like the South Park joke about it and stuff like that, where they're playing video games and all getting fat with like the Cheeto fingers, and that's what happens. Like, but and you're like, Jesus, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess Monster Hunter Wilds is gonna make more history, I guess. I mean, it's already 10 million copies, meaning that it's gonna sell maybe, I don't know, who knows, like 100 million copies.
Who
Did
knows?
did GTA have did GTA 5 sell over 100 million copies?
Let's look it up. I'm on it,
Feels like
boss.
some
Well,
insane amount in the first 24
I,
hours.
probably a lot because they did generate a lot of revenue.
GTA 5?
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
It was one of
GTA
the
5 so
biggest launches
far
ever,
has
right?
sold 210 million units
Oh my
worldwide.
gosh.
That's crazy.
That's
So-
as of February 2025. So if anybody bought it,
So I guess
recently.
Monch is next in line, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, nice.
He sold 210. Woohoo!
Yeah. If Monch sells 200 million copies, I'm coming
Already
over.
way above.
Well,
Yeah,
let's see.
you guys should invite us to your office.
Yeah, I
All
mean, you're
right.
looking at it at the moment.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, well, technically, if he sold a lot of 200 million copies, then he'll get a new office upgraded.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a brand new
We did
one.
have an office as part of our grant initially for a year in the CBD, in a place called Game Plus, which is sort of like a co-working space for game devs and adjacent sort of things.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that was
I
pretty
heard
cool.
of it.
Initially, we were supposed to make the game within that 1 year period, but
Mhm.
so much
Oh.
for that. COVID sort of messed us around a lot during that as well. And we couldn't go in
Right.
as much during it, which kind of sucked. But yeah, getting it done in a year was ambitious and or naive.
That'd be kind of cool and fun. Like it'd be fun and kind of weird to be working next to other, development companies. Like, we
Yeah.
be able to help each other out, but then you're also like, hey, don't steal my stuff, man.
Yeah, I
Hey,
see
go
you
on
how
your
much.
side of the building.
There wasn't really too much concern about that, I suppose. Like everyone had to sign agreements prior to working in the space.
NDA.
What to
Yeah.
do with that sort of thing, and
If we find out you saying anything, sit in for you.
Send him with the goon squad.
yeah. I mean, it was a really cooperative environment, and like it was more valuable, I think, than any potential downsides to have people that were potentially more experienced than you, like, come over and check your stuff out and give pointers, or just having people that weren't, that are outside your studio that are just on hand to give feedback is really valuable, because you have a lot of developer bias when you're playtesting your own game over and over again. At some point, your own playtesting can't really yield objective or subjective results very effectively, and you just need outside opinions. So
That's a really cool program.
Yeah, it is super cool.
I mean, great for networking, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
Like, we have some contractors that did some work on Monch, and we met all of them through that space, basically. So
that's awesome.
And they had like playtesting nights and things like that.
Yeah.
Like that. So
and those really facilities usually have like a big testing facility where all the people can just go in and like test out with other different like devices and stuff. Because my cousin is actually making a game himself as well, and then he's also in one of those. I think he's also with a bunch of other indie game devs like all around him, and then it's like in the same office basically. And and then he said like he actually gets a lot of help from other indie devs, like get a lot of suggestions, and also he can also give suggestions as well. Yeah. And they have like big test facility thing where they have like all these different like mobile devices they can test out, from like like Apple or iPhone 3 or something all the way to A16, all that. To see how it looks in like different devices. So
is he making a mobile game?
No, he's not making a mobile game, but they have it. They just have it so that like if in case you're actually making a mobile game or importing into a mobile device, then you kind of test out.
Yeah.
Did I play your cousin's game?
I don't know. It's called Thanks Light. It's about
Yeah, I did. Thanks. Remember that one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna invite him one day. I'm gonna invite him one day.
It's a cool game.
You want to invite him one day?
Yeah, but anyways.
All right, back to the other side.
Yeah, but Monster Hunter Wilds.
A bunch of chatty Nancy's.
Sorry. We love talking with indie devs, and we just love talking about game stuff.
we love talking to you.
Like if there's no limit, if there's no like time limit, we would just go on for like 5 hours. It's gonna be like
only time I hear from Anthony's during the podcast. He just ignores me the rest of the time. So.
If you actually go to his stream, he'll talk to you. So I usually just go to his stream and say, "Hi, Anthony, how is it going?"
Sometimes I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's over there like talking. I'm like, "Okay, I'm not cool anymore, I guess." I'm over here supporting him. Like, "Hey, man, I'm here to watch your stream." He's like, "Yeah, man, you what?" I'm like, "Okay, fine." I'm just pretend like I'm just puppy chow. Just kidding.
Wait, do you still stream as Byron or no?
No, I haven't for a few years. I think I stopped in 2019 when I started studying, basically. Because it was full-time study, and I just started putting all my time into that. And I took a break from streaming because I was sort of burning out on it. I was trying to make it a full-time thing and my primary source of income, and I was pretty close to getting that to work, but it was taking up my entire life. I was working like 100 hours a week, like not just streaming, but doing all the background stuff. And it was just way too much. And also living in Australia, primarily audiences are US and UK based, and so the hours were all messed up. And I was
You're all bloodshot eyes, like, what's going on, everybody?
You start streaming, we're about to go and take a sleep.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny when people don't know anything about streaming and they're like, I'm gonna go stream and make all this money. You're like, okay. Like there's like no guarantee you're gonna make anything, you know what I mean? So it's like you can spend all them hundreds of hours.
I mean, it's the same as developing a game if you think about it.
Yeah.
That is true.
But I have a question about that for
Mm.
our young streamer / dev over here. What did you find more gratifying though at the end so
Oh,
far?
and streaming or game dev?
Yeah.
Mm.
I guess it's hard to say yet because we haven't really released the game, and so that will sort of depend a lot on that, I guess.
Potentially.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, generally, like everyone that's play tested the game has like had a good time with it and has had pretty positive things to say. And like the reason that I wanted to make games in the first place is to just my philosophy was always like if I can make a game and it brings anyone any amount of joy or improves their day, makes them smile, then like that's a success, regardless of whether we sell a million copies or whatever,
That's a very good
And
I like that.
mindset. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
yeah, and so I
That's
think that we've seen that. So that is obviously very fulfilling, and we have all of us working on it. Monch have a lot of imposter syndrome. And so we're always like, have we even made anything good? Is this a pile of garbage? And then having people play it and actually be like, oh, this is really good. I had a good time is, yeah, obviously really nice to hear.
it's dope. The reason I was even asking is because there's times when in my head I sometimes would rather just be on the side you're on. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Instead of the other side, just because I find that side more fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I was sort of the same when I was streaming, where I was like, oh, I want to get into game dev, and I hadn't,
Mhm.
started making any moves towards that at that time. And back then, I kind of still thought that it was not, a viable path in life, basically. And so never really pushed towards it. And streaming, in a way, was sort of a stepping stone towards it, I guess, because it made me realize that, like, okay, gaming, this sort of thing can work. And so maybe making games can also work, I guess. And so maybe if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's cool. No, that's super cool.
Yeah, I think it's in a lot of indie devs' minds. Like when they first start making a game, at least they think about how players gonna enjoy their game. They're no, I mean, they do think about what money they might potentially make, but then like the original the root of the thoughts of becoming a game dev is like, oh, I love playing game. What if I can make something beautiful so that other gamers can actually enjoy and start playing
Yeah,
and talk about. And I think that's really important. I think to keep, even if you become successful or not. Like
yeah, 100%. I
yeah,
mean,
Mhm.
you see a lot nowadays where, especially with AAA games, unfortunately, like the corporatization of gaming, and it for some companies, some studios becoming less about let's make a good game and more about like how do we get all the money we can out of
yeah,
who is going to buy this game. And then obviously that is sad, right? And it's missing the point
Mhm.
yeah. That is
of the
very
whole
sad.
thing
Yeah,
in the first place. But the world we live in, like, capitalism is,
yeah,
sort of reached this point of rampantness
mm,
where that is almost the default. But that's the good thing about indie gaming, I guess, is that generally speaking, indie devs are more likely to be, as you said, focused on like the experience first and like making a good game, and then
yeah,
if the money comes, then great. We did a 1 year business course, so we were sort of forced to think about the money side of things more. But yeah, it's hard because you don't want to go too much into that and then just focus on that, like even as an indie dev. And there's so much stuff online, discussions, forums, posts about like the business side of indie dev and how do you make
Mhm.
money and how do you market and how do you
mm-hmm.
monetize and all this sort of stuff. And there's like so much of that it can, I think, you can sort of get bogged down in thinking about that stuff. So yeah, it's hard to walk the line and create a good balance, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
we always wanted to just stick to the very basic traditional model of like you buy the game and you have the game. That's
Mhm.
it. You buy the experience, and then it's yours, and you do what you want with it. And no microtransactions or any of this other sort of stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
We all sort of grew up with that. That's how gaming always was, and it's tried and
Yeah.
tested method.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember. I always say too is like you remind me of like when I first got Overwatch, and I was a huge Overwatch player, and you had to earn everything in Overwatch. Like you bought the game, but you earned all the skins and all the weapon stuff, and now you can just buy it. It doesn't seem as fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like,
something that you've worked towards and put time into. I think is always going to be more rewarding than like, okay, I just click the button and my account handles it. Like,
yeah. I did work for this, but just not on the game.
yeah,
I did it in real
Yeah.
life. It was
I
my
mean,
sweat.
yeah, because it feels like when you
And you're back.
yeah. Yeah, when you mentioned about these game companies, kind of focusing more towards how to make more money, I guess it reminds me of the first company that comes to my mind is Blizzard, I guess, because like in the beginning, when they released StarCraft 1, Diablo 1, 2, Overwatch, up until like I think Overwatch, they were like all about how to make a beautiful game that gamers will actually enjoy. But then after that, it kind of like I don't know. After that merge with Activision, kind of like focus more towards business side of things.
You always have money.
Yeah,
Get
and
away from me, Activision.
yeah, and also
I mean,
yeah,
look what they did with Bungie.
yeah. So
Yeah, they're the studio killer. That was their name for a while.
Yeah,
I
but
think
anyways,
that too. On that tip too, that's one thing that I don't know if I can't remember the first time I played an indie game, but I usually go into games with like just an open mind, like, and I try to just play them and see how they make me feel. And I think that's what originally when I first started playing indie games made me enjoy them more than triple A's, is that I actually got like I had fun like I did back when I was like a child, like in the 80s and 90s.
yeah.
And then on my Nintendo and stuff, and then it wasn't one of those things where like I bought a $60 game and in like 30 or 40 minutes I was like, all right, so I got to shoot that guy 15 more times to get this gun and stuff. So it's just like that feeling of just enjoying it and just having, you know what I mean? So it's,
Well, I think a lot of AAA games also fall into the problem of like being quite formulaic, right? Because there's so much money behind them. They're like, well, we can't afford to take risks or innovate that much because if people don't like it, then we've just put all these tens of billions of dollars into this and stuff. It's sort of the same thing that's happening in the film industry at the moment, right? Where there's just this stagnation of innovation and creativity almost. Not that there isn't any out there.
it's just hard to find sometimes.
Yeah, like so many studios are just doing old IPs and stuff, and because they're like too scared to do anything new.
yeah,
And indie games luckily don't have that problem, I guess.
yeah.
It makes you sad.
It's actually pretty funny because we talk about indie games, but indie games has always been here for a long time, even before AAA titles.
Well, yeah.
I read the first article. I read this article. The first ever indie game was called Space War, which was released in 1962. That's the first ever indie game.
Was it where the kids run around throwing sticks at each other, or was it a real game?
It was a real game, like one of those microcomputer stuff that they had.
Oh yeah. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
No.
If you
think about it, like all those retro games, they were like made by 1, 2 people, 3 people. They weren't made by like. Yeah. I'm sure even on Nintendo, I would have to look it up, but I'm guessing some of those really fun Nintendo games was like a couple people. Like I'd be surprised to see how big the Super Mario 3 people were. You know what I mean?
Well, even like the first Halo. Yeah, even like the first Halo game, it didn't have that many people working on it. I mean, if you think about it, like all of the first games would be indie games because
that's what I was.
Right?
Yes. Right, because all the AAA studio, whatever, they were first started as an indie game studio, probably. Like Blizzard was. Blizzard was also.
Halo team was 8 to 9 people.
Yeah, so
there you go.
Yeah, that's.
Everyone started as an indie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean it was all experimental at that point, right? There was no like people didn't think it was a real industry until until recently, really, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very true.
But I think that the same thing stayed true back then to now is when they were making those games back then. They're making games they wanted to play. Like I'm sure the Halo guys are like, bro, let's make a game where we're just a badass space marine killing whatever. Like that's a good idea, bro. Let's put some trucks in it with some guns, and then that's how it worked out.
And it's all hang out together in the living room, play together, all the
living together, pizza parties, drinking beers and stuff.
First ever LAN party.
Yeah,
I went from Tito's and Mountain Dew to pizza and beer. Should have been hanging out with George.
Wait, Byron. So are the people in your studio, are they kind of like that, or you guys hang out a lot?
Less recently, but partly just because we've been so busy.
Okay.
We initially had 4 people, but we're sort of down to 2 people working on the project at the moment. 2 had to step away for their own reasons. One of them's sort of moved into state, so so a bit less interaction with those 2, but we still keep in touch and keep everyone updated with what's going on and everything. Okay. And then me and the Drone and the other dev that's working on things actively at the moment, like we're obviously in contact all the time because we're working on the game day to day, so we have to talk about that, but we're still good friends outside of that as well.
Okay. I think those working environment, I guess, is what keeps creativity like intact, and just like it just I think it's a really really good environment. You just kind of have to kind of work together. At the same time, you have to actually know what each other loves and what they like to play and all. So I think that's a good way to kind of work.
Yeah, I think it's much better to have more minds involved, generally speaking. Like, obviously, it can be really valuable if you're a solo dev and you have this vision and that you know exactly how it's going to be and everything. But like the amount of, I can't think of a specific example off the top of my head, but the amount of times that we've been having a discussion about a mechanic or a feature or whatever, and just someone brings up a perspective that you just wouldn't have thought of, and you're like, oh, good point. Like not having that, having that is obviously very valuable. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I'd rather be part of a team than by myself.
Yeah.
Just so I can bother them.
I think it helps with motivation as well, because if you're doing it yourself, it can be easier to lose motivation and sort of fall into a rut. And if you have other people that you're working with, then you kind of can hold each other accountable and motivate each other, and you're in it together. It's not just you trying to climb up this mountain. You can pull each other up, and that helps, obviously.
Team building.
Yeah. All right.
There's a game about that. It's called The Two of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think we're ready to move on to the next. I'll just say a little quickly. Let's go over the news about the Cyan games, which Anthony wants to talk about a little bit.
Or no?
Yeah, you do. You're the one who brought it. You do.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So it was Cyan World layoffs. I guess they said 12 employees.
That's very small. Okay.
Yeah, I mean they are like
depends on the size of the company, I suppose.
Yeah.
If it's 15 people and they left 12, that's pretty big, I guess.
Well, they say that it's half the team, so yeah.
Okay, that's pretty big. Okay, never mind. Okay, it was a 2014.
I mean, because it's an indie studio, so
okay.
About it. They said that they had to lay off people because things are changing. Blah blah blah. World is changing.
Yeah, you have to adapt to the new world, whatever. Okay.
But at least when they did lay out, they gave them service packages and they gave them recommendation letters to other companies so they could get hired.
Okay.
Picked up.
I like that.
Yeah, I really do like that.
They're like, hey, sorry, but here.
Yeah, it's not like they tossed them to the side of the world and say, "Go, survive the fittest."
Good luck.
The Hunger Games.
Yeah, I think a lot of I don't want to say like all the AAA studios, but like a lot of game studios, they're like, if they don't have any job for the people that are actually working there, just kind of like, okay, thank you for working with us, and have a good life, and then just like leave them. And I mean, they probably do get like severance packages and stuff, but like I don't know if they get referrals or anything to other companies.
I guess that's the difference between getting laid off by a AAA studio and getting laid off by an indie studio publisher.
Yeah.
I think
difference.
I feel worse if he got kicked out of an indie studio. I mean, I can understand if it like the it's over and there's no other projects, like you can't pay them, But it's like there's like 4 of you, and they're like, "Hey, John, sorry, man." Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's worse.
do?
I think it's worse when it's the AAA studio and you've got a CEO making millions of dollars a year, and they're like, I can't afford to pay you $50,000 a year though. Like, that's too much. Sorry.
That's 100%. I was thinking more of like how I'd feel if it was just 4 of
a
us
lot of
like, get rid of that guy, and you're like, what? But
that's a lot of indie studios. They get either investors or they get grants to help support their games and stuff. So they don't get the grants, and it's like out of the budget. It's hard.
That's kind of it's like a true it's like a cold reality, I guess they gotta face. But like for AAA studios, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we have to pay the CEO $1 million more. You just gotta go now. Like, okay,
$1 million more.
I gotta give him the bonus.
Don't even get me started, boys. Don't even get that the kind of stuff makes me upset.
Can't be like what was it? Who was it? It was a Nintendo CEO? Remember when they had to do layoff? Yeah, when they had to do layoff, he said, "I'll take a pay cut."
Yeah, that's a good move. That's a very good move.
Yeah, I like that. No,
really
there's been people in America who are CEOs that pay their people really well and they don't take a lot of money, and other CEOs have threatened them because they're like, "Hey, you're making us look bad," and they're like,
"Yeah,
sorry, we have morals and ethics." Have you guys ever seen that interview with the Boeing guy with our thing? One year they're like, "Hey, you know how much money he makes?" And he's like, "Well, it's on the packet." And he's like, "Yeah, but how much money you make?" And he was like, $38 million that year. And they're like, "Yeah, it's a 45% raise in 1 year." He's like, "How much have you paid your people?" And then they're like, he's like, 1% in 8 years. He's like, "You might want to pay him." That's when the planes were crashing. Like, screw this guy, I'm going home.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what CEOs or founders are there for. They have to kind of take the responsibility, not the people who follow their orders. Like if something goes wrong, it's mainly because the CEO was the person that signed everything. Like at the end, right? They have to review everything of the project, and then if something goes wrong, they have to at least take partial responsibility and say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this project kind of failed. I'll try to make up for it and help out the people that actually worked their butts off to make this project a reality." So I don't know.
I think too, that's kind of like, if you think about it, and well, I'm not sure how all indie companies go, but I mean, as an indie dev yourself, you could tell me about this, but like most of the teams we know that we've talked to, they're indie devs and like they have small teams. Like all of them kind of depend on how good the game does. So they're all invested. Like they're all going to make an X amount of money from it. You know what I mean? The guy in charge is not going to make that much more than everybody else. So I think it's like one of those things where everybody's in. They want everybody to enjoy that game. So it's like, it's a whole different thing. Like if you imagine if every company gave profit sharing, no matter what the company was, to their people, and like how good we do, you make more money. And you're like, oh yeah, good idea. You know what I mean? So I think that's a whole another reason why I love indie more AAA.
Yeah,
true.
Wait, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, I was just off your point, or at least like if the game, say like GTA 5, 210 million copies, how much is that CEO making or whoever the higher ups versus the people who actually put the grunt hours in to get it done? Like, do they get like any of that? Like,
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, I would probably be a horrible boss because I would be the kind of guy that would probably try to share like a ton of money with people, just because I would just be happy the game was dope, and I'd be like, "You guys are doing great," and they're like, "How much you got?" I'm like, "Oh, no money. This is not good." Oops.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna start working for Zach's company when I retire.
I always said if I ever made a company, like if I say I made a game development company or something like that, everybody would get profit sharing.
Yeah, I'm in.
Just straight across the board, just because that way you're invested in what you're doing. Because I'm a big fan of making people happy.
Yes.
It's weird. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's the mustache.
Yeah, but have you worked in a AAA studio before, Byron, or no?
No, this is the first commercial game dev endeavor I've been a part of. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, that's why he's so happy.
Yeah.
He's stepping in
I haven't been jaded yet.
uncharted waters.
Yeah.
All right.
We've had a couple of indie devs who are like, they did some contract work for AAA's.
Or
Yeah.
I also met a lot of indie game devs. They kind of worked for AAA studios for a long time, and then they just kind of quit and just wanted to start making something of their own. So they have the skills and network and all that. So
yeah, I feel like that's a pretty common trajectory.
Yeah.
People like go and get the experience and then strike out on their own sort of thing and make what they can and have a bit more financial backing behind them after working AAAs and that. But yeah, we sort of did it the other way around. See how that works out.
I mean, and you get skills and stuff from them, so it's not like horrible.
Yeah,
You know what I mean,
I'm sure it's a valuable experience.
Yeah.
But
True.
Okay. I think we've already been naturally dissolved into the into the companion waypoints. But
I don't know if you told our dev
we've
this,
been
but this is
talking
our
about his
stream.
game and his fears for a long time. But actually, I kind of want to watch the trailer with sound so that we can talk about the trailer as well. So let's watch the trailer of Monch, the cute egg.
You mean that rock that's been sitting there this whole time?
You sure it's not an Easter egg?
No, that first guy goes, that rock's been sitting there forever.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the first line.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an egg.
He's like, how long you been there, man?
Yeah. I really like the rolling form.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah, me too. I was like, okay, I can start rolling. Awesome.
I don't know what it is, but I just like
Music
rolling
is
characters.
It's like meditation music right now.
Don't go to sleep, Anthony.
I might go to sleep.
Hang in there.
I don't know, it's the music. It's about to take me to another land.
I didn't get to where was this on the riding on the boat and stuff?
No.
No, right? Okay, I didn't because I definitely didn't get to that point. So I was like, okay, did I? Just
But I did like the cat faces.
Yeah.
That's it. They kind of look like a Minimap cat.
Oh, Navi.
Possible
Oh,
crossover.
Yeah, we could.
Munch.
Tyrannodog. Who came up with that one? Who came up with that name?
I can't remember exactly how it came about. I think we wanted to have something memorable that stands out that wasn't a sort of word that already existed for like SEO stuff like that. And we were kind of jamming words together, and I think the logo might have come first because we had a someone who was doing sort of mock-ups and things like that. And they made this little creature, and we're like, oh, that looks like a cross between like a T-Rex and a dog, and Tyrannodog. So
That'd be a scary dog.
yeah.
So, Monch is the name of the character?
It doesn't really have a gender, I suppose, but it's referred to as the Monchling.
Okay.
Basically, Monch is more the action that of going around and sort of consuming these creatures and various things in the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, that was where the idea for the game started. Really, was this creature that would munch things and
kind of like Kirby.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because there's a Kirby lover here. You can guess which one it is.
Oh wait, hold on. There you go.
This guy.
Right.
I like things that defeat things with their mouth. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with monsters that are just like, oh, it's over with.
And then transform.
Yeah.
So Monchling is kind of like a bat. What would you say it is? Like a
Yeah, we've had someone refer to it as a purple bat ball before.
Okay.
It's not really I don't know, a creature that exists, I suppose. Like, it wasn't really just modeled after anything. It was more we started with it was be a blob that started with no abilities basically, and then as you go through and launch things, you like gain the physical aspects of those creatures, and that unlocks your ability to use them to do various things.
You know what? You know what just popped in my head when you said that? Have you ever heard of a horror movie called Jeepers Creepers?
Sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not sure I've seen it.
The bag or the monster in it eats parts of the humans, and then he gets their parts. And that just popped in my head for some reason.
Okay,
with your character, it's kind of the same thing but cuter. You know what I mean?
Very cuter, yeah.
Cuter and cozier.
Yeah. We wanted to. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say it's like when you do eat the other animals that are like purple. I feel like they're gummy bears, or they're just like evil things.
The idea is that they're sort of afflicted by this, energy that's usually hasn't been seen in the world and has sort of come out and is affecting things in different ways. And the creatures that live there aren't really sure what's going on and how to deal with it. And for some reason, you as this little purple creature is capable of dealing with this, and you sort of find out about your role as that creature in the world and what it is that is happening throughout the narrative of the game, and through finding sort of secret inscriptions that talk about it and give you a bit of backstory and context for it and that sort of thing. So I don't want to say too much about it, but
okay.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, no. Yeah. That's what kind of reminded me of
So is there anything that you were inspired by, like while creating this monster, or any of the elements in the game?
Well, initially before we started concepting, we had to, as part of the business course we were doing, do a bunch of market research. And we sort of found that there seemed to be this emerging niche, which has now kind of developed and become cozy gaming, basically. And at the time when we were doing this was 2021 when we were researching this. There weren't that many games, and like it wasn't exactly a genre yet, I don't think. But in recent years, it's sort of become a more common thing, or a more popular thing, I suppose, where games aren't relying necessarily on combat, violence, or like stressing the player out to keep them playing. And so that's what we were trying to sort of go for at the time, because it seemed like there was space for us to fit into that sort of growing niche. And provide a more sort of like relaxing experience rather than a stressful experience, which most games, inherently rely on this interaction between like stress and dopamine, like cortisol and dopamine, right? Where you apply stress to the player like in the right amount and then give them a reward, and like that's kind of how the loop goes to keep people playing games. And so we were sort of like, well, I wonder if we can, and this is what we were taught as well, when we were studying game design. And so kind of counterintuitive perhaps, but we were like, well, I wonder if there's room like to not use that formula, basically. And we were looking at a game called A Short Hike. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Yes, I know. I love that game.
Yeah, and so I guess back to your initial question of inspiration, I suppose that is one of the big things that we were looking at earlier. And we were like, well, this is really popular. This worked out really well, and it doesn't have combat. It's just this chill little adventure around this small open world. And so I guess we were like, this seems like it's sort of the scope that we could accomplish as well. And fits all these things that we were thinking about doing. So I guess you could say that was a bit of inspiration for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
I like it.
Yeah, because these days, especially these days, people are looking for ways to relax and I don't know, feel comfortable.
Oh yes.
Because
Yeah,
the world is full of I don't know, just violence or just fast-paced life. Everything about
Yeah.
And Monster
slowing
Hunter
down and yeah.
that and what?
I said Monster Hunter stresses me.
Yeah, see some of the games.
I think it's a good balance. There's some games that are cozy games, but they just have super cool things about them that get you just to, like you said, like to relax. And I think I think that I can see why that niche is growing, and we've all seen it. I know we all seen several people, and that's all they do is cozy gaming. But I think it's because it's relaxing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are like, you play video games to. Like one of my sons, he'll play a video game, right? And I'll just from the other room, all of a sudden I'll hear rah rah, just smashing things, and I'll walk in, I'm like, hey guy, what's you good? And he's like, no. And I'm like, dude, you might want to play something that doesn't make you angry, because that's back in the day, games was supposed to make you relax or at least chill
like
a little
playing
bit.
something that actively makes you feel bad, like
weird. It's a weird thing, right? Like I can't wait to play Call of Duty, and some guy's like, you're trash. You're like, stop, I'm crying, like doing my best. But yeah, that's super cool.
Can you in Monch, can you die, or is there a game over situation, or
not really. So because part of the philosophy was we don't want to make the player frustrated was the main thing. Like, avoid that at all costs, because that brings you out of the chill, cozy, relaxation vibe instantly, right?
Yes.
So you can we use water as sort of a barrier, and if you jump in water, you respawn nearby. So, but the game, you can't die or get to a game over state as such. Yeah. The idea is that you can just go through it at your own pace. And that we don't want the player to be worried about stuff like that, basically, because we don't want them to feel like there's limits to their exploration or their gameplay other than the abilities they've collected and their own sort of exploration of the world. Yeah.
I purposely jumped in the water a couple times.
Yeah, me too. I was like, what happens if I jump into the water and then I respawn?
So I was like, bloop, and then I was back. I was like, okay.
That's always the thing. You gotta touch the water with your toe.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have toes, so I had to use his whole body.
Yeah.
It was like, whoop. So I noticed too that oh, I'm sorry, George.
No, go ahead.
I noticed too, in your game, I got a real, and I mean, I think you might have already hit on this, but I got a real vibe of kind of a lot of wilderness and exploration. Was that something that you guys discussed? Because there's a lot of adventure, but I noticed that to unlock the rest of the game, you gotta find your way through the path, and then there's a lot of trying to cure this wilderness of this felt kind of like a pollution or evil, and I really got that kind of vibe.
That's pretty much spot on with your observations there. So we initially actually didn't really plan to have an overarching narrative as such, because the scope of the game has sort of crept up as over the course of the development, and initially it was supposed to be much more basic and just more sort of you just go around and collect things, and that's what the game's about. And we kind of felt that it needed a bit more narrative, partly for direction, but partly to just feel a bit more connected to the world and what was going on in it. And also, I think it's important for players to have a reason for doing whatever they're doing in a game, as the character and as the player. And if the game is just like just go and collect things to make the number go up. I feel like that's always less compelling than, well, you want to collect this stuff like because of you want to like it's polluting the world or affecting the creatures that live here, and those sorts of motivations I think are more substantial to most players. So we ended up adding more of that sort of stuff in, but then we didn't want the game to sort of devolve, maybe that's not the right word, but into just going around and doing what you're told to do, right? Which is I think a problem that, going back to a point from earlier, a lot of AAA games have, where instead of exploring, you often end up just like putting a waypoint on a map, beelining there, doing whatever you're going to do, and then rinse repeating that, and you don't really actually interact and engage with the world along the way, or even while you're there that much. It's very objective and result-oriented gameplay, and we wanted to make sure that the experience was more mindful here, basically, and that rather than going to objective markers or whatever it is, that you're going around and actually looking at the world, experiencing it, and and using your own sort of senses to figure out where to go and what to do, and gain a sense of discovery and achievement that way, rather than I went to the thing and I did the thing.
And I think that was something that resonated with me too, is the fact that you had that, there wasn't like combat or anything like that, but when you did find out, all that stuff I couldn't get to before, I can get to now because I have wings and I can coast to it. Or I found this place that I didn't, I walked right past before. I feel like that really had a very, it felt good. You know what I mean? When you did it. So I definitely I've definitely felt that, if that's what you guys are going for, like that whole sense of accomplishment of just finding things and just, rolling into an area and you're like, oh, sweet, I didn't know this was here.
Yeah, definitely. That's good to hear. Yeah, that's exactly how we wanted players to feel, basically. And making sure that getting abilities or upgrading your abilities is rewarding. That you have those experiences where you're like, oh, cool, now I can go get that thing that I saw earlier. And it's hard to have the correct balance of like making sure like the player knows when they can't get something and they're not trying to get it for ages and get frustrated because they think that maybe they should be able to, and trying to make it clear that like not quite yet, you might need something else. It's something we struggled with a bit. Hopefully we got the balance.
I would say that definitely happened to me. I was like, nope, I can't get it, but I was like trying at first.
Yeah.
And then when you got the wings and I could go and I could float to places, I was like, okay. And now I knew it was meant to be down the road to get these things.
Yeah.
So, and then also breathing. At first I thought the fire. I know he whiffed the fire with his eyebrows, but at first I thought I was breathing it in and spitting it out. So I couldn't figure out until I was like, oh, you just aim. You just have to aim it. And I was like, took me a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how I knew.
He's just like shooting out gusts, and then they can interact with the fire, and you unlock like other things they can interact with later on. So like you can upgrade all of those 4 base abilities that you get as you go, by munching like more of that creature type, and then those abilities give you more things that you can interact with in the world, more ways to move around and stuff like that. We had a funny bug early on in development where I accidentally like set some number to 0 that needed to be not 0, and it made it so that you could just machine gun out the gusts, and if you used it on a fire, it was just like a flamethrower.
The whole place is on fire, like ah.
It should have been a feature.
Yeah, I know, right? Like if you complete the game, you actually have other features like this one. You just
I like cheat code.
Yeah,
you need those. That'd be pretty fun, though.
Super cool.
So, how long is it okay to share, like, how many levels there are, or how many like maps to unlock and stuff, and what the gameplay time will be?
Yeah, so it's an open world, basically, like not a huge one, but it is open world, so it's not so much like you go through specific levels or like that sort of thing. But there are 4 regions, and like the one in the demo is the forest area. That's sort of the smallest and the the first area you start off in, and then after that, like in the full version, you unlock access to like the desert, the mountains, and the archipelago, and those are sort of the ecosystems that you can explore. And they all have their own like type of creatures that mostly live there, and sort of their own problems going on and things that you can help them out with. In terms of total playtime, it is hard to say for us because like our playtesting, obviously we know where stuff is and things like that.
Yeah.
But and when the testing that we've had done by other people, we haven't got exact playtime numbers from most of them, but for us it's usually around 5 hours, and that's when we know where everything is and we go straight there though. So I assume for most people, and also that's not like 100%ing everything, collecting like all the collectibles. That's just like getting through the main sort of story, main game. So would assume probably between 5 and 10 hours for most people, and then like a bit more after that if you do want to go through and collect everything, 100% everything, find all the like the secret stuff, that sort of thing.
I think that's good amount of hours to spend in an indie game, especially because like if it's too long, then it kind of can drag depending on what type of game it is. But so that's a
and if it's too short,
obviously.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean,
yeah, it's tricky to find the right balance there as well, because like you both said, you don't want it to go for ages and like people get bored, but you want to have enough there that people feel like they got value for the money, and that it was a worthwhile experience and everything. And it's really hard to gauge that for us, honestly. So like we looked at a lot of other games that like sort of have similar stuff going on, and tried to, I don't know, just have enough stuff in there but not too much. So we'll see how that pans out, I guess.
Yeah.
I heard from a lot of indie game devs, they really want to put a lot more stuff into the game. Like, they keep adding on, but then they actually have to find the right spot to stop, because if they just keep adding on, that's going to drag the whole development process, and they might have to, I don't know, fix the entire code or whatever. And also, it might go endless. Like, I just want to keep adding this fun. Oh, this might be fun. Oh, that might be fun. And then like add it, and then it becomes... it becomes like a huge project. Yeah, you cannot even complete. So
and all of a sudden it becomes a AAA game.
Yeah, I think so. We were very conscious of that from the beginning. We had lots of talks about scope and limiting scope. We still did end up with a bigger scope than we initially set out with, but I think that is in a way kind of inevitable. And like when we were doing project management stuff during our courses, like you always talk about leaving like a 30% buffer or whatever, because stuff like that is going to happen. And then like external circumstances like COVID, and like some of us had health issues that we had to deal with during it and things like that. All these sorts of things are going to push things out, but not that that's related to the scope directly. But yeah, we definitely had a lot of talks about things like where the project is and how far away it is of getting done, and what we actually need to look at maybe cutting, and what we think is really core to it. Definitely had a lot of conversations about that sort of thing. And more recently, because we were in a state where we were doing testing, and then had a bunch of things to look at after that to like fix bugs or address different sorts of feedback, or just like, well, we can probably make this a little bit better, refine this, and make this thing look pretty excuse me. And it's definitely the case where you can always keep working on it, you can always keep making it better, and at some point you have to be like, we need to
this is it,
have an endpoint.
You need an endpoint.
So we had a discussion about that not that long ago, like a few months ago, where we were like, well, we've been working on this for this long now. It's supposed to be done ages ago. We really need to lock it in. Like, stop adding stuff. Just look at what are the things that we really need to improve or fix. Do that, and release the game. So yeah, and then we ended up with the May 2nd release date, and we've basically worked through most of that stuff now, and there are a couple of tiny things left to sort of fix up and refine, but it's mostly pretty much ready to go. So yeah,
I'm stoked.
Yeah, less than a month, right? Release to
less than a
release.
month.
Exactly a month, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So what are you guys?
A little bit of nervousness.
Oh yeah.
I like it. Like, yeah, less than a month. No, I'm joking.
Excitement and nervousness in equal amounts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable. This is your first game, right?
Yeah. First commercial game. Yeah.
So it's kind of like your
we've
first
made
kid.
other smaller games, as part of projects and stuff like that, and like some of them are on itch, but this is the first,
A legit
actual game.
Actual.
Was the cost of the game already announced or something?
The price?
Yeah, the price.
It isn't at the moment. We are still sort of having discussions about that.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm trying to figure it out. I've been doing a bunch of research into this and reading through many forum posts from devs about their experiences with it. Because we don't want to overprice it, don't want to underprice it. It seems like the consensus is that higher pricing is generally better, like to a degree, because like you can only move the price down through mechanisms such as discounts and sales and things like that. And so if you underprice, then you have less flexibility with the price because of that. And
that's true.
a lot of sales happen in discount periods, so you really want to make sure that you can use those mechanisms as effectively as you can, from what I understand. And a lot of people have said that, and maybe you guys can have some feedback on this, I don't know, that if they see a game that's like too cheap, they'll assume that like it's bad or that there's something wrong with it, and that's why it's that cheap. And that if it's like a little bit less cheap, then people are more likely to be like, oh well, it's probably like better quality kind of thing.
I think it's here and there.
Yeah, it depends, I guess.
I bought a game for like
genres,
$4, it's like almost $5, and I played them for hundreds of hours, and I bought in games that are like $15, and then I kind of got tired of them after like a week. But I could definitely see where like sitting at where you want to. So then if there is a sale or something like that, because I think it's funny when a game comes out and it's like the game's originally like $6, and like if you buy it right now, it's 20% off, so it's like $5.49.
Yeah, like, and you're like, well, whatever.
There was this one time I saw a game that went on sale for like 90% off, and that was 10 cents to purchase.
Oh my god!
I bought a game.
It was a $2 a game or something.
I bought an indie game I haven't played yet, but I bought it for $2, but it looked cool, so I was like, we'll find out if it's any good or not. But
it always depends on the genres and how many hours you play in it, and if it's replayable also. That's another thing.
Well, and you could always offer like one of those, like if you pay for the special edition, you can get this plushie, and then Anthony will buy it. He'll be like, plushie? No, I'm just joking. There's a physical edition.
Suggested that we should make a plushie of the.
Yeah, I mean the Monchling plushie would be pretty cute.
Yeah, you have like Velcro bits where you can attach the wings. And
oh yeah.
Oh, that would be fire.
What are we talking?
Let's get out of this game development. Let's make some toys.
Hasbro.
To give you a more like material answer, like we're thinking like based on other games that we've looked at that are sort of like similar genre and theme, similar sort of length, like between the $15 and $20 mark, maybe. We think that's probably fair for like what we put into it.
Yeah.
But do you guys have any thoughts on that? Be interested to hit me back.
I can't really tell you because we played the demo.
Yeah.
I could tell you that one of the things that me and my friends say that I find to hold true is if I can't remember what he said, but I think he said every $5 or $10 should be at least like 1 or 2 hours of gameplay or something like that.
Yeah,
that's just what. And so like that's kind of how we gauge our games. Like if you buy a game and you buy it for like, I don't know, $15 or $20 and you don't pay it, you beat it in like 3 hours, you're like, but I find myself whenever I buy a game, like comparing it to real life things. Like if I can buy a game for less than what I would pay for lunch, I'm like, am I really dying right now? Like,
yeah.
But if I look at a game and I'm like, oh my God, that's like $60, and I like when I bought Monster Hunter World Wilds, I was like sweating a little bit, and I was like, click, oh God, I'm like look around, make sure my wife's not around, click, you know what I mean? But it all depends.
I think comparing it to like real life or other things in life, sources of entertainment is always interesting because people sometimes like, oh my God, like $15 for this indie game, that's insane, and then you're like, how much does it cost you to like buy a movie ticket that gives you like
exactly
entertainment?
That's true.
Like, that is very true.
And that's a one-time watching. You only watch it once.
I say the same thing about movie tickets. Like, oh man, it's $15 or $12. So I'm like, yeah, but it's like 2 hours. Of like, you can go to the bar for 2 hours and spend like $500. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it all depends, I guess. But
wait, how much? No, go ahead, Anthony.
No, go ahead.
I mean, I was wondering, like, how much is it? How much is a movie ticket in the States? Like, usually,
it depends on where you go. So in Texas, I'm sure it's probably different in New York, but in Texas, like some of the places is like $15 or whatever. But it's like that's kind of like the going price. But a lot of the places that sell their tickets for $12, $15 here, or even $18. It's all has to do with like what you get with it, kind of like I didn't get to show you this because we were short on time, but there's actually a movie theater here that I really love. I don't know if they have it in New York, but it's like more of a Texas brand. It's called Alamo Draft House. And it's where you go and you sit down in these really nice chairs and they have this big table in front of you and they bring you food and beer while you watch the movie. Like they bring it out and give you you buy the food there and they bring it to you while you watch the movie, and the movie it's just like a whole like experience instead of just like like there's one that me and my daughter went to, and you buy the food and then you have to walk out and get it out of a machine. These people literally walk by and like they're like creep down real low and like, hey, what do you want? And you're like, I want this, and they go, okay. And they come back and bring you your food, and at the end you get your ticket stuff. But it's a pretty cool vibe, you know what I mean? So it all depends on the experience. I think it's the same with games. Like there's been games that I bought and I'm just like, bro, I would have bought that again. Like, I'd buy it for my friends. I like it so much, you know what I mean? And there's some games you really regret that purchase.
Yeah,
a couple of them.
I think pricing a game, like if you're on the spot, like it's very, very difficult decision to make because it's I mean there are a lot of too many different genres and too many different games that they make their own decisions, and you can't like trust like a single or I don't know any of the theories that there are because your game is different from all the other games. So we just have to kind of, I don't know, go with your team's idea.
How you guys are feeling?
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Just a lot of research and trying to work off of as much data as possible is my general philosophy, and hopefully that works out. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah. I think back in the day when I watched that this it was like a not a documentary on like when games were being, it was a documentary and it was really good, but it was kind of about indie devs actually, and it was actually based on they showed several different developers, but one of the developers was the two guys who came out with the original or the very first, I'm sure they made the other ones, but Me Boy, the one where you run around as a piece of meat trying not to get grinded up. And they released that for $5 on the Xbox store and just killed it. They didn't expect to sell. They sold millions of copies like the first day. And they were just like, oh, well, we got money now. But it's one of those weird things. Like it could go real good and then it could be,
Yeah.
That was just two devs. Can you imagine that split? Sorry, I'm done. I yield my time to the man up top. I've been watching too much political stuff. I yield my time.
Yeah, but all right. I think I think Monch looks really, really good. I think it's gonna do well. I think. Well,
I love the character.
Yeah, I love the character. I love the gameplay. Really love the fact that you don't actually die, because like, you know, when I'm playing like roguelikes or whatever, I keep dying. Like when I was playing Hades, I was like so stressed out every single time. I'm like, oh my god, I have to do that all over again. Like I actually want to see the end of this game. But so I guess
I never.
I think it's a good. I think there's a good market like out there. Like, you know, people who only play cozy and relaxing games. There are like even subreddits or whatever, Facebook groups there. They only talk about those games. So I think it's gonna, if once it hits the right audience, I think it's gonna do pretty well. And also the pricing. I mean, once the pricing and everything is correct, I guess it's gonna do better.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Yeah, I'm gonna. I think I wishlisted it already, so I know wishlisting is very important.
I wishlisted twice.
Really? That's it?
No.
I'm just kidding.
I went on Anthony's wish list.
Okay.
I was like, click. He doesn't know yet.
We hacked Anthony's account and we wishlisted it 3 times.
You hack my account, you would not want to see how many games are there.
I mean, that's not my problem. That's yours.
Yeah, because I didn't buy them.
Like,
I didn't buy them. Yeah, but
how many of those games are more than 20% done though?
Okay, so we're gonna end. We're gonna end our podcast right here.
You got any last words about your game for us, or you want to tell people?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I got you, buddy.
Not really. I mean, I guess if you like, you know, cozy, the sound of it, we've talked about it a lot. If you like cozy stuff, bit of puzzling, platforming, collecting new characters, then might be for you. Check it out. Yeah, on Steam. That's where we're releasing it at the moment. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram if you want to. We post some stuff about them there. But yeah, apart from that, just we hope that anyone who plays it has a good time and enjoys it. That's
all right.
Check out the stretching kangaroos.
Any plans to import it to other platforms as well, or other consoles?
We have been told by a lot of people that it looks like it would be a good fit for the Switch.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't have any experience with porting really, so like we initially had planned to release it on the Switch and PC, but we ended up having to just focus on the PC version at the moment. But definitely could in the future look at porting it to Switch, especially considering the feedback we've got around that. It'd probably be smart to do that, but can't really say anything for sure at the moment. We just have to sort of see how things pan out for now.
All right.
I would say, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I would, and I think kids would love that game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I know we're cutting it, but I was happy when I could plug my controller in. I was like, oh, it's got controller ability already. So like the game just felt really fun in my hands as a controller game. You know.
Well, that's good to know that it worked well for you with controller, because our testing with it has been a little bit limited. That's sort of in the next week we're trying to refine all that a bit. But
you're welcome.
Thank you.
No, I was like, I wonder if, because you know I saw what kind of game it was. I was like, I wonder if it's a controller. So I just plugged it in, and I was like, it works. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was fun.
That's good to know.
But thank you for coming to the podcast. We really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed having you talking about your game. It's really fun. And
thank you guys for having me.
This is the worst time that we're gonna
have to say goodbye to you.
Yeah,
and I don't like it. Don't look at me.
Teardrops. But anyways, yeah. So if you, for those who are listening or watching this, if you haven't already, please go wishlist Monch. That's Monch with an exclamation point. Monch. Yes, and
that's what I think. Monch.
Yeah, and follow. Yeah, just follow them and wishlist them and follow them on Twitter as well. And thank you for listening and watching to our podcast as well. And goodbye, everyone. We will see you next week, hopefully.
Bye, friends.
Thank you. Bye.
And then you're coming back on when you make Monch 2, right?
Yes, DLC.
Even more munchier.
Yeah.
I got you.
No, just put IES, Munchies.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Munchers.
Or it could be
Just
Monch
S.
Munch. Yeah.
And then you have